Hi, family. This is Charlotte, Pastor Caldwell. I'm out here on my patio just working on my sermon for tomorrow that I'm going to speak out of Hebrews 6:19. And Hebrews is an interesting book. Um, Most may say that the Apostle Paul wrote it, but they really don't know. Whoever it was, they felt like they were very Jewish in their approach to the text. But there are some things in there, I tell you when things kind of rub me the wrong way. And I love how there's a part that talks about getting rid of all of your rituals from your ancestral lineage, but then introduce rituals. Things like that will make me go, because I have found, especially when I locate where things are mistranslated, that there definitely was an agenda in putting together what we know as canonized text. And I can just surmise that, I don't care who's writing. There's an agenda when one is writing, an agenda to tell your story, agenda to tell where it hurts, an agenda to tell you where to look, things like that. But with the canonized text, if I were to say there was an agenda, it was to shape the consciousness of those who would come after this text was completely put together, and in some ways control the people, dare I say. But it doesn't negate that it is sacred text. It just means that one must do their work to do that exegetical work. And exegeting means to dig in and dig out, dig in and dig out. And that is what I do. So, Hebrews 6:19 talks about being anchored. But what anchors you? So that's what I'm going to focus in on tomorrow. Sometimes we don't understand what is the thing that anchors us. Like sometimes we can love the wrong person. We all know how that is. We can love the wrong person, and that love will just anchor us to that person. And we will go the distance until we finally realize, I'm tired of being stupid. You do. You can anchor yourself in things like, I'm going to stay and do what's necessary because I want this position or I want that. And you put that anchor like a ship, you put it down and you won't move. And sometimes that's called kicking the bricks. And kicking the bricks is not spiritually healthy, or in my opinion, it's not spiritually healthy to continue to kick the bricks. And I think that's why so many people find their spirituality in other ways, because you can feel like that sometimes in church, like you're kicking the bricks. And you shouldn't. You shouldn't have to go and come to collectively together to worship. I think church has been redefined in so many ways, as far as being the body of Christ and things like that. People say we're building God's kingdom on earth. And, the kingdom of God is already within you. You don't have to go searching for it unless you're doing a deep dive within. So the thing is, this is written in Koine Greek. So elpis is the word for hope in Koine Greek. And that is a feminine noun that means expectation, hope, or confident anticipation. So when you put your hope, like you put all your hopeful love in that one person, and you have an expectation, a confident anticipation. But if it is anchored in the wrong thing, hope is what builds the anchor. That's what I want to say. It is hope that builds the anchor that causes you to put down yourself and sit it into something sometimes that's not worthy of you. So the anchoring of who you are should only be in God and in the Son of God, nothing else. Yes, you may fall in love. Yes, you may get the dream job, but that is not your anchor. The thing is, we've had the root and the system of things so put in us, we can't recognize what the true anchor is. And we must. So unlike now, when you look at the word hope in English, in modern English, hope, which may imply uncertainty. See, coming out of the Greek, this is a certain type of hope. It is one that you know and you stick with and you roll with and you ride with. This is not a throwaway hope. Well, I hope it won't rain tomorrow. I hope he loves me. I hope they like me. This is that hope that's built in God, that knows God created me. God got me. God has the plan for me. God will never leave me nor forsake me. God sent a Messiah to be a part of me walking through the fullness of salvation and maneuvering in this realm. So in modern English, when you say I'm hopeful, it's a little bit of an uncertainty there. The hope that I'm talking about is a certain hope. It is not a fly-by-night hope. It is a certain hope. And your hope must be rooted in God. Now, Hebrews, for all of the things I can look at it as far as, how it's written, it's to me, can be all over the place. But it gives a good example of Abraham. And there are many people you can give an example of that had that hope-filled faith. Because even in the face of not seeing a thing God was promising Abraham believed. Have you ever had a word from the Lord and it seems so unreal? You're like, I must be dreaming. I must be dreaming. And but maybe from a little girl or a teenager, or when you first went to college and finished high school, there was a word you got from the Lord. And you just didn't stand on it. You thought, that's crazy. The Lord has a way of speaking to you and into you the impossible. And see, then you have to believe because God said it. And sometimes if you go running to your pastor, to your imam, to your shaman, they may not get it either. And one of the things I've learned about our Creator is, especially if God comes to you and you know that dream came from God, you know it. And you just keep on going. So I want to read Hebrews 6:19 to you. So I was pulling it up. We have this hope as an anchor for the soul, an anchor for the soul. And if you remember, Charlotte Pastor Caldwell told you, if you go search out sacred texts, the only thing that needed salvation was the soul, not your spirit. I just still find that so fascinating that two key components of the unseen you doesn't need salvation. Only one part of it, according to text, is in need of salvation. So it enters the inner sanctuary behind the curtain. So I have always found the secret place is not out there. It's not something that human beings built. The secret place is within you. That place where you find that spark of life and that image of God, that sacred, holy place is in you. We've just been taught that everything is outside of us. And, in light of it's how we live. We're never made to feel like, let me put it like that. We're never made to feel like the goodness of God lives in us. The love of God lives in us. And the mercies of God live in us. We're never made to feel, call on the mercies of God, call on the love of God. But if you're calling from within, totally different. And it is a shifting of one's consciousness that has to happen for you to be able to function in that. Which is why I always pass on to you that I started getting from my holistic doctor. I was reminded of it through Grand Madame. Do the breathing exercises. You breathe in to the count of 5. You hold the breath for 5. Then you breathe out through your mouth to the count of 5. Do that 3 times. Center yourself. Locate yourself in yourself. Now that is a thing. If you learn to master that, the Apostle Paul talked about the flesh and not giving it to the flesh because you're not strong on the inside. It will say the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Now, this is the thing. Most theologians and spiritual instructors will tell you the flesh is where part of the soul, in that the soul, Mary Magdalene says, lived like right under the flesh. And many locate the soul in the seat of the heart, the physical heart, that's centering there. So if you don't center yourself, and that part of you that needed salvation, not the part that didn't, but the part that needed, because see, it says your spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. That means your soul isn't strong enough to rule over your flesh. And I get it. I'm in my 60s, and it's a tough one. It's a daily battle. Because yesterday I was talking with a girlfriend, and I shared this with you earlier. And, having, diabetes, I walked into Dollar Tree, and what did they have, family? They had all of the Halloween candy just right there in my face. And I saw the candy cane, and I bought some. And my girlfriend said, look, I want you with me a lot longer. I know I'm being selfish. She said, but I don't want you just sitting around having candy corn, and then I don't have you. And I thought, wow, that was so sweet. She was like, no, I'm serious. Stop eating the candy. But all of these things, see, we hope the government will do something different. That's kind of like an uncertainty. We hope these things, like they're trying to pass a law where the clergy no longer have to be the voice of children. Now, that means if anyone comes into my space, if I were counseling a family and they come in and it comes out that mom or dad physically abused the child or SA'd the child, no matter how nice I am talking with them, make sure I have their address and all of these things. I call the authorities immediately after, because I'm now the voice of the child. So they're trying to remove the voice of the child, that hope the child has that somebody will see what is going on with me and someone will speak when I cannot. Because see, for far too long, we've told children they need to be seen and not heard. My two, you would hear them. you would hear those two women. They'd be like, wait a minute, hold up. But the hope that I'm talking about is expectation, anticipation, confidence, anticipation. Yeah, anticipation. Yes, you're anticipating the plan of God. That God says, I know the plans I have for you, baby. I plan to prosper you and for you to be in good health. So then you have to start saying, wait a minute. Am I living in that? No, I made choices that caused me not to live in that, like my candy corn. Just saying. So you have foolishness like that going, you go, I hope the judges don't do that. When you're dealing in that English low vibrating language, we got to take that to God. We got to take that to the higher heavens with confident anticipation that God will answer and that God will move. Period. Like we hope they'll do the right things and tell us all the children that were abused by Epstein and the people that hired him. I'm not attaching myself to that. You know why? Have you seen the move of God? I have seen 3 grown women come and tell their stories about what was done to them when they were a child. Yes, I have. And they were underage. I think one was in her 20s. But she talked about how brazen it was. You remember what he said on that RV that time being interviewed, how he would grab women? That's what he did to her. And she said she was just humiliated and ashamed. See, we feel bad, and we've been groomed to feel bad when other people are the ones with bad behavior. You didn't even do anything. And you have to, I guess the way is how you're groomed. And if you've been groomed to, well, you're seen, you're not heard. The family doesn't talk about that. We don't tell anyone, all of these things. It makes it rough to catch the people who truly are the bad actors in this thing we call life. And it is why we all want to throw up both hands and holler. But if you're truly anchored in God, you should never miss getting the good in it. And if you do, you need to recheck and make sure you had your proper alignments and you wasn't in that English type of hope that implies uncertainty, but you were in a confident anticipation that you were heard by the higher heavens, by the one who is my woo, nothing is greater than, and you're going to move on. You know what I said this week? The cloud of glory is moving. Move with the cloud. Let your spirit arrive. Let your strength be renewed. Come on, baby. Let's move on together. As we follow where God leads, new life we will receive. Come on, move with the cloud. All right, guys. I wanted to come by and share a little bit of where I'm going with my sermon. I'm still working it out, baby. Say you got to work it out. Hey, say you got to work it out. So I'm going to work it out because I want people to understand also, especially those that I walk with, if you anchored yourself and put all your hope into this colonized type of religion, disappointment every time. Your hope can be built on nothing less than God. Period. The text says, my hope is built on nothing less but Jesus' blood and righteousness. So if you go throughout the eons and you check spirituality, the life is in the blood. And I know for some, that is not your practice. I get it. I am not here to push, my form of worship on you at all. But I am here to tell you that whatever you have that anticipatory hope in, therein lies your doorway to that secret place. Check it. Just check it. Charlotte Pastor Caldwell, I don't come by to tell you anything to harm you, but to educate and to uplift you spiritually that you may grow. And sometimes I've had that one missing element, and someone will say something, they'll be like, come here, one little missing piece. And then all of a sudden, the next thing I know, I'm in a different realm. I'm in a different place. I'm hearing my ancestors. I know they're walking with me. I'm able to see through no matter what. People can be smiling and laughing and singing, and I know they're trying to get me. I know they're trying to get me. All right, guys, this is Charlotte Pastor Caldwell. I am a pastor of 12 years. It may be longer. You guys know I have been so off with my dates. I've been a student of sacred text for 30 years. I love coming by, talking about sacred text, showing you how I live as well as a pastor, maneuvering through my yard and my garden. Like and subscribe. And guess what? I will see you the next time. All right, family. Bye.